Speaker on, volume as high as I can get. We are live, and Larry could not get into the show again today. I don't know what happened. I don't know if we're out of...
I got into the show, but not through the link. So don't anybody hang up. I got here, just not through the link. We're having to go through the old system.
Yeah, okay. All right. So I forgot to turn off my phone volume before we started. So give me a second to get this. You'll hear some feedback here. All right. Go ahead, Larry. We're ready.
All right, folks. Today is the first day of a new year.
And new decade.
All of you, a happy New Year's Day. And I want to wish each and every one of us a happy new year. And that things this year take a decidedly positive turn and we win. That's my New Year's wish, that we win. If you have a New Year's resolution you would like to send in for the group to hear, please send it in now. Mary Ellen, anybody with a New Year's resolution within certain limits. It can't be ugly like cussing and such. Read them.
Well, I don't see any yet. People are saying Happy New Year, everyone. Happy New Year to you. And and some people do think that you sound better, and are asking if you got what you...
Thanks to yesterday, enough of you came through to help me get over the hump, and I was able to get what I had to have. I've got to do it again today, so if you can, those that didn't yesterday, please do it today. But I'd like to start the New Year's conversation with a conversation Mary Ellen and I had just had. She gave me a story that had been circulated that she got, and it was another one of these doozies that floats around out there. And Mary Ellen made this statement. It's just so hard to know what to believe anymore, whether to believe these things. And I answered her and said, no, really it's not. And that I used to think, because of where I've been, what I've done, my experiences, the knowledge I got from being on the inside in certain areas, that I was unfair to people who didn't know whether to believe these various stories or various scoops that were out there, that I thought it was silly just because of what I was able to know. But guys, I don't feel that way now. I really don't. I don't feel that way because in many of the institutions putting out some of these far-fetched things, people have enough time now to go back and look and see that this group said this and it didn't happen. This group said this and it didn't happen. Over and over, this group has done this and it didn't happen. And I can only look at it in the reverse. If I told you things that turned out not to happen, I would hardly be able to talk to you now for people coming in and saying, well, Larry told us this and it didn't happen. Larry told us this and it didn't happen. I would be besieged with lack of trust. So track records mean something in this area. A history means something in this area. People have exploited the cover of I've got a source, but I don't reveal my sources. Now, this group somebody that's in a position to give me the information I need to feed to you. That responsibility falls on me. What I can't stand is somebody that says, well, it didn't happen, but don't blame me. This is what my source told me. That don't work, guys. That don't work. I am responsible for any sources that I tell you I have and information that I have obtained from them. I'm responsible just as if I were the source myself. You have to hold everybody to that standard, not just me, everybody. Another thing, all of y'all in this audience, I'm not being patronizing. You are the most educated group in America. You know, listening to a program because you know stuff that's real. You understand better the system than most any of the other people scouring for information do. You know more about whether to judge something true or not based on what you now possess, which is your knowledge. And it's a knowledge that you may not even know you have. You see, if I were to teach you things, if I taught you, if I set out to teach you, you could remember and retain what you can. You got it? But by putting you through training the way I do, you may not even know you know something. That an event or something will come up and you will just know what to do or what the answer is or what it means. You'll just know without thinking. That means it's innate in you. It's in you. And it don't go nowhere. You can't forget it. It's in you. It's the very reason why soldiers are trained and not taught to be soldiers. They're trained to be soldiers. They're taught skills. So once you have passed the test and have become a soldier, they will then teach you the skill in the area that you'll be working in. So if you're going to be a motor repair person, they will teach you how to repair a motor. But before you got to that, you were trained on being a soldier. And when in combat, the one line used more in the military than any other of men, women going into combat, you stress over and over, no matter how loud it gets, no matter what you see, no matter what the sights of blood and the gore and the confusion does to you, rely on your training. Rely on your training. And you'll get through it. Or have a better chance of getting through it. I believe that. I've seen it. I've seen it work.
Larry, can I
work every day for me. What?
can I interrupt? You know, I've been with you every single day. I don't think I've missed a single day since June 1st, 2016. listening to what you've had to say every day. And of course, there was a time there where for a month or a few weeks anyhow, where you were too sick and I had to keep things going. But I kept things going based on this memory that you're talking about. And I'm finding, I mean, Rindy and I have discussed this many times actually, that when something happens, I'll mention something that happened, she'll mention something that happened, and we'll both say, what's the first thing that comes to mind? What would Larry do? What would Larry say in this instance? We have been trained because we have listened so long. And that's why it really is important to listen day after day and catch up if you miss some. We're here every day. And what we hear, even if it becomes repetitive, is drilling that into our memory so that it becomes second nature to us. Just like Sandcastle, you're talking about other channels warning. When we see something happen, when we hear something, what's the first thing we do? We think about, is this real? Does it make sense that this is this just a conspiracy? Is this really possible? And we have to revert back to what we've learned here, because Larry's sources are so incredible that he can tell us the truth. All right, that's my piece.
Well, yeah, it's about being trained, and all of you at various levels have and are being trained now in the process called training. There is this thing called repetition. Hearing the same thing over and over and over, it gets old. I know it does. And I do the best I can to present these things that I want you to have in you. I do my best to present them in as many different ways as I can to help stop the tedium. But I guess what I'm trying to say is you're good. You are all good at this now. Some better than others, simply because you've been around and done it so long. But you're good. Now, I just gave you this whole long lecture to tell you, in this new year of 2020, when you hear stories, first off, know the ears or the eyes you're seeing them through or hearing it through. Know that. By that I mean, is it a story you're prone to want to believe? And there's a difference between wanting to believe it and wishing to believe it. You can want it to be true, or you can wish it were true. What's the difference in wanting it to be true and wishing it to be true? Well, there's a difference. Wishing it was true is telling yourself that you know really it's not. You just wish it was. Wanting it to be true means you hope it is, but you haven't found out yet for sure whether it is or it isn't. But you got to figure your perspective. And if it falls under the perspectives of want or wish it to be true, you got to be real careful then. Because you're going to be more susceptible to believe it. To believe it. It's hard to stay unbiased. The truth is, if you hate Trump, and it's a story that makes Trump look terribly bad, and not beat him and stop him and put him in jail. If you story that looks like they're all going to be put in jail and handcuffed and tried and skip mode. Be careful, because that's what you want. A wish would be true. Your perspective. You've got to remain, when you see a story or hear one, be careful. And force yourself to stand back as unbiased as you possibly can be. And when you do that, you're left with one thing and one thing only. Facts. Facts. Or history. Facts or history. Facts. You know what that means. You've got this piece of evidence, this piece of evidence. Guaranteed evidence. That's a fact. History. History means something. This person has told me 7 things, and all 6 of them turned out not to be true, and this is the 7th one. Now, it is something I wish to be true or want to be true, but since the 6 other things he has sold me on in the past turned out not to be true, standing back, looking at it honestly, what about this one? What would you immediately think of this one? Is it all of a sudden going to be true? Is it going to be 100% true? Is it going to be 50-50 true? Is it going to be 60-30, with the 30 being the possibility of truth? That's what I ask. That's what I ask. For example, a fact. A fact would be someone heard, this is made up, y'all, so don't put it down as something spread on the internet that Larry Nichols said, because I'm not saying that this is an example of a fake story. Someone sends out an article and says President Trump personally took handcuffs over and handcuffed Schiff and Nadler and Pelosi and is escorting them to the jail. By the time you get it, people have told you that this story has been out. Several people are releasing the same story, so it must be true, correct? That's the way it works. Circle journalism.
Yep.
Circle rumors. This is when you would back up history. The person you heard it from, what's their history? Now, somebody telling a far-fetched story like this, I assure you, they do not have, I don't even know who that person might be in this fake scenario, but whoever that fake person would be in this fake scenario, that person would have a terrible record of things actually doing what he said. Stories actually being true. But without the history, you immediately have a fact. Trump personally put handcuffs on Schiff, Nadler, and Pelosi as escorting them to the jail. Fact. He can't do that. The president can't do that. He does not make arrests. He would not be able to do that. He would turn that over to his attorney general. Agreed?
Right.
See how fact would bail out the story right away. And you know that fact. We've discussed many times here. People saying they wished Trump would hurry up and arrest these people. He can't. We've all talked about, well, at least he should order law to arrest these people. He can't. He can't. Attorney General, whoever the Attorney General would be. He can request of the Attorney General to look into these people and express his fears or his concerns, but he cannot order the Attorney General to do something like that. As a matter of fact, y'all should have learned in his first campaign manager, Lewandowski, or whatever his name was.
Corey Lewandowski,
or whatever, in his House hearings, if you'll recall, and maybe it was his Senate hearings, I can't remember, but when he was called in and put through the third degree about did he get an order from President Trump that he was ordered to go and tell the Attorney General to do something, remember?
Mm-hmm. With Sessions.
He was told, was he told to go and tell Sessions to do something? And if he had said yes, he was, that would have been illegal. Fortunately, he was not told to do that, or at least he didn't say he was. You see, these are experiences that should give you all the background you need to establish facts in the year of 2020.
Well, I don't know how many people actually remember, actually watched that hearing or would remember him saying it.
I don't either, but it was there, and it happened simply as a point of reference to y'all.
Yeah, I remember it. And then you talked, I watched it because thanks to you, I'm actually watching some of these hearings. But I remember you're talking about it when it happened. You came here to the program and talked about it.
So guys, you're going into 2020. Enough of all of this. You're going into 2020 with a strong base of knowledge, each and every one of you. And when it comes to the myriad of stories that are going to float around out there on the internet, you don't need me. You don't need me to say it's not true. You just think about it. And when you ask me if it's true, then I'm put in the awkward position of saying, well, I'm just not going to say, because I do understand one of the laws of politics, which is also a law sort of life. He who offends the least wins always. So if somebody's favorite place they go to read up on things I happen to disagree with, then I may have lost somebody that we need on our side. And that happens quite regularly. I would rather y'all figure it out. It's not hard. Just always remember, before you pick up an article from one of these places or hear a radio program from one of these places, remember history and facts. History and facts. If you let that be your guide, you'll be able to ascertain for yourself whether what you just heard is something you should worry about or believe in. Please, make this the year, because we're going to need you to make this the year. You see, the clock starts today. We are in the year of 2020. And by being the first day in the year of 2020, the clock has started for the November 3rd or whatever day it is, Now, the end of this year, 2020, now this same day, 1 year from now, we will know, you and I, whether this nation will go on as a representative republic, form of government, or whether 1 year from today we start our lives as communists, as a communist nation or a socialist nation. Pretty scary, isn't it?
Yeah.
Pretty scary stuff. 1 year from today, on this day, you will know. Scary. We got 1 year from this day. We've got 365 days or 64 days to save it. To save it. I would like to think this is going to be our year. You know why I think that, Mary Ellen? Why I want to think that?
Because we want to save this country, and
No,
we
because
have.
of a fact. One fact that's actually in the description of this year. You know what that fact is?
Apparently not.
Well, it's simple. This is the year of our Lord, 2020. This is the year of our Lord, 2020. Now, what is the fact I revealed right there?
That God's in charge.
Try it. It's His year. It's His year. And if we could ask Him, I think most definitely He'd tell us what He wants. But I think He would also tell us, me thinking, this is me thinking. I didn't have a connection and He told me. My thinking is that He wishes we would keep it in His name. Keep it in His name. And if you go communist, socialist, dictatorship, any of the above, He's not there. And it would not be His year, 2021. Now, with Him on our side, not being all religion-y, don't do it well. If I've got to pick somebody to be on my side, I don't think I could pick much better than that. He ain't going to do it for us. He will not do it for us. Get that out of your mind. He's sitting on the bench on our side. On our side.
And I'm going to take you back, Larry, to 2 Chronicles 20, where God said, stand and see the deliverance of the Lord. But He still expected that army, King Jehoshaphat's army, to come out in battle array as if they were ready to fight. And God promised to fight for them, but they weren't to stay home in their tent. They were to stay home. They were to come out prepared for battle. And the only way we win, even if people who are prophets are right that God wants Trump to stay in office, it's only going to happen if we vote. God works through people. So he doesn't wave a magic wand and do things for us. We have to stand up and do something.
And I don't think he's going. I don't think he's going to compete with George Soros and rigging the voting machines. I'm thinking that. I just think he's on our side. It's his year. This is his country. And we've successfully, as men, taken his name out of public buildings, out of schools. You know, I saw a bit last night. I woke up, unfortunately, long enough to see CNN. I have to watch all the channels when I can, because I want to know how the other side is doing what they do. So I have to. I wouldn't advise it. Most of it, it's not pretty. But I couldn't help but noticing, you know, CNN, the host. The host is that white-haired guy. What's his name? Good heavens, they're 360 Anderson Cooper. And his co-host was this guy. And I didn't understand. I didn't know this guy from Adam. I knew he wasn't a star or nothing. Come to find out, this was Anderson Cooper's boyfriend or husband or whatever he is. I've been on camera. Right there where all of these kids would be watching. And you know how I figured it out? Because he didn't say, this is my better half or other half. They were talking about what they were going to do their New Year's resolution. And Anderson Cooper's person next to him said he was going tomorrow, meaning today, he was going to get to be with his 2-year-old son. And he loved being with his 2-year-old son and watching him grow and learn. And then Cooper was going to be with him. And then I got to noticing everybody that they had just about in the time period I saw, which was maybe 10, 15 minutes, every host that they had either had a queer proudly displaying their queersmanship or dressed in some kind of crazy, all I can say is some kind of looks like a drag outfit, a drag queen outfit. That it was despicable, guys. That was like I had awoken in a gay bar. Everything was that way in there. Is that what we've really come to? Is that what this is? That's sure what CNN peddled New Year's Eve night in New York City. That's what they peddled. And they were not the least bit ashamed of it. Not at all. This again is why we must fight. We must fight. I don't want our kids growing up thinking. I don't want our kids growing up thinking, number one, well, let me say this off the top. When somebody does in their private lives, that's their business about me. I don't want it around me. So whatever they do, just do it in private. But I don't want our kids growing up in a world thinking that being homosexual stuff is normal. It's not normal. It's not normal. Now, I'm not saying it's against the law. I'm not saying they should be punished. I'm not saying anything. but don't tell me it's normal. It's not. It's not normal. God made men, and God made women. You don't see queer dogs. You don't see queer cows. You see, that's the problem with being homosexual in the homosexual community. They can't procreate. They can't make babies. So how do they get them? The only way they can get babies is to recruit them. Recruit them. And where do they get the babies to recruit from? Us. And I don't want our children being exposed to that. I don't. This makes me a homophobe, then I'm a homophobe. Okay? Then I am. I don't want them hurt. I don't see any reason that we need to go around beating them up. I don't. But they don't need to be pushing it on us either in public. I don't go around kissing my wife and crawling all over her in front of people. Because that's not right. Some things are left to be done in private. All of the homosexual community, all of the transgender things, all of them people together, do you know what they might make up? Maybe one, on a high side, on a good day, maybe 2% of the population. That's it. It ain't no massive 10%. It's no 20%. It's 1 or 2%. But you would swear they've got the majority because they're loud. Because they're loud. And it just so happens that their demented situation that they have fits like a glove of Soros who are trying to take over our country. You see, they just need misfits. They need people that feel like they are ostracized by this country, by this government. And they get them, and they use them. They use them. They use blacks. They use Mexicans. They use homeless. Any group, don't you find that on this any group downtrodden, that they can make believe that the reason they're downtrodden is because of our government and the way we treat them. And it's something they use them. And we know they're going to use them. So in this year, 2020, we've got to be smarter than the Soroses. All you got to do is know what they're doing, and then we can fight against it. How do you fight against that, right? Simple. I say to you here, this day, the first day of what may be our last year as a nation, that we know the way our nation is. I say to you on this first day of the last year, if we're not careful, there are more of us. There are more people on our side of the ledger in this election in November than there are of them on their side. We just have to make sure that every mother's son on our daughter, on our side of the ledger, shows up to vote in 2020. And if we do, 1 year from now, this day, we'll be looking at our nation coming back strong.
Yep.
We're coming back strong now with that.
Good. I have some questions.
Comments.
Yeah, we asked at the beginning if you had a New Year's resolution, and I'm going to share a few. One is that Hillary will run again and lose again. One wants to win. Do you want to comment, or you want me to keep going?
Keep going.
One wants to win the lottery so he can help you. One is hoping Trump will win. One is hoping the president will get rid of will rid America of the Fed. My New Year's resolution is to find a way to invite somebody over for a conversation. And I can't do much more than just invite them over for a cup of tea. But, you know, I used to have a British neighbor across the street, and we very often would get together for just 5 minutes of conversation and a cup of tea. And it was really a wonderful thing to do. And I need to reach out to my neighbors and invite them over for a cup of tea, because that's something I can do. And that is a way that I can have them in my home and talk about the things that we talk about here. It'll just be, you know, bring it up a little bit, look for a chance to bring it in. And that's what I'm going to do. So Rachel wishes the human race will receive full disclosure on extraterrestrial involvement. Okie dokie. And I don't mean to sound demeaning about that conversation, but that's on a way different topic from where we are. So I'm sorry about my reaction. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. We had a couple questions, Larry. One was, what's going to happen in Iraq? Does this mean we're heading into war? Yeah, that was the question.
No. If you're talking about a war here, no. From everything I see, now this falls under the category, in my opinion, from everything I see, they intend to take this country from the inside. They intend to take it, and then they will move so swiftly once they have control to put us into submission that we're a generation or better away from bloodshed to accomplish something. We're not headed for a shoot 'em up war this year.
Not in the Middle East either.
Well, not that. I thought they were talking about here.
No, I think they were talking about, are we going to go to war in Iraq again?
We're not going to be in another global war because we can't. Nuclear proliferation will win out in that category for now. Proxy wars will continue on. They will exist. And unfortunately, we will be required in some cases to involve ourselves, which means our people, our soldiers. Fortunately, as long as President Trump is president, it will be limited, extremely limited. We have a president that has no intention of committing American troops wildly, and he certainly, I know this to be a 100% fact, he has no intention of allowing
Okay, next question. A comment. Unless Trump wins, nothing else matters. Then the question was, is Gowdy joining the team, Trump's team this month? And will he lead they said prosecution, but I think they meant the defense in the Senate trial?
I don't know if Trey Gowdy is for sure getting in. He may be. But to my knowledge, as of a week ago, he certainly would not be leading the defense. If he comes in at all, he may very well be used as an attorney for the defense in the trial. But for me, I don't trust him. And you must all understand I have a problem. I don't trust any of them. None of them. So, but I don't call the balls and strikes. The president does. Jay Sekulow does. Sekulow may feel more confident having a former congressman be one of the floor defense unit team. And he may. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see about that.
And somebody mentioned that they're getting really impatient for arrests and wanted to know if you had any idea how soon we could expect some.
That one, I will tell you this, and all I can tell you is this. If the timetable that I know about is followed, there will be some indictments, and I know about when they plan to drop them. But I'm honor bound, I can't give you that time frame. And even if I did, I would say it's not worth much because there are so many things involved that surround just indicting someone, such as the court and finding a court. We've talked about it over and over, that it would be subject to change at any point. So I think you can rest safely in the fact that there will be indictments. There will be grand juries called. And both of those, some of them in each category, will certainly occur in this year. Now, I don't know, like me personally, this is my thinking, has nothing to do with President Trump's team or people. I'm seriously concerned as to the political effect it would have during this presidential race. And I know Attorney General Barr, it's not on his list of priorities worrying about the president's political situation, but I am. And so that's my opinion. I think it's better carefully be looked at.
Yeah.
If it can be.
Teresa asked if Lindsey Graham or somebody else can't be trusted, isn't that worse than an open enemy?
Yes. In many cases, that's one of our problems. it's one thing for us to have an adler, a ship. Yeah. But what's scary is people that are supposed to be behind the president, protecting him, protecting his rear and his flanks. And they're actually the enemy as well. Yes, Teresa, that's incredibly dangerous. And that's exactly where the president is. Not to mention the fact, think about what it does to him. Think about President Trump. For just a moment, I know he's not the kind of guy that you look at and feel much inclination to feel sorry for him on a human level, because he seems so rough and gruff and seems to be perfectly capable of taking care of himself, thank you, and good counterpuncher and etc. and all that. But just think about what it must feel like on his end. Swimming in waters just ravaged by snakes.
Yeah, a true swamp.
Just don't see how he does it. What you got?
When don't Mimi and not Mimi asked, don't Pelosi and Schumer and others of their ilk realize that now we are understanding what we would consider crimes they've committed? Don't they know that we know, and they can't ever hide again? So why did they keep on going with this nonsense? And
well, that's the thing that worries me. I used to say, you can go back and find recordings of it on Pastor Ernie Sanders' program and all the others. I used to say, we're safe. We're at least safe now. Now, this was back then, several years ago. And I'd say because they're lying to us. As long as they're lying to us, we're safe. That means they're afraid of us. Well, folks, now they're not lying to us. And if they are lying, we know they're lying, and they don't care. That's bad. That's bad. They really think they have us beaten. That's why they hate Trump so. Trump seems in their mind to have been able to bring us up out of the depths of stupidity. He's been able to bring us out, gather us up, and give us the inspiration, the leadership to fight that they thought we didn't have anymore.
mm-hmm.
And now they know. So now they're moving fast to get their job done, because they know if they don't do it this year 2020, if they don't do it this year in 2020, they realize they run the risk that more will start to wise up. Even millennials will start to see, possibly at some point, they fear. And people start wising up, they're gone. Their dreams of destroying this nation are over. So they've got to make it happen now. They must make it happen now.
That makes this year kind of scary, looking forward to, for example, summer.
It does. Because it is. I mean, I can't share with y'all enough my commitment to the importance of this year. This year is it. It's it for them, or it's it for us. They know this is it for them. They win or they lose. I'm just not convinced enough of our side understands that. That's why I keep begging y'all to tell it. But to tell it based off things we discuss here Sometimes they're simple things, fundamental things that don't have much excitement to them to spread. But I don't know what could be more exciting for somebody than to realize we're about to lose our country. We're in the middle of a coup. The coup's not over. Yes, some of the ringleaders have been exposed in this coup, but it's still there. As long as you've got professional government employees in place, guess what? We're in trouble.
But Larry, I mean, so many who work in the government at low levels are that's their career, that's their job for their.
Not all are bad. But if you look at the leadership in these different divisions of government, and if you look at the leadership in the divisions of government that are influential in our government, they're the ones dirty. And somebody's got to clean it out. President Trump has not been able to do that because he's been besieged by attacks from the Democrats. Get him through this election, and he will not have that problem. These professional bureaucrats in these key seats, that nobody even knows who they are, they're the ones that must be cleaned out. We've got to get the leaders. We're the ones that can fire Congress and senators. Trump gets through this election, he can fire the professional bureaucrats. He can fire each and every one of them with a single stroke of his pen. What else?
So that's something he can do because it'll be second term, right?
Yes.
Okay. We have two more questions. Is there going to be a trial, or is Mitch going to shut it down?
I don't know. What I did know, it looks as though he has broken his word. And if he stays on track with what he's saying now, then yes, there will be a trial. And if there is a trial, it will go, as I told y'all, the last program.
Okay, yeah. If anybody wants to know what will happen if there's a trial, listen to yesterday's program so he doesn't have to repeat it. What will the Democrats do if Trump wins?
They'll immediately lick their wounds, but they'll have to come up with an entirely new plan. And it will take them out of the system that they've been allowed to use all these years. They'll have to come up with a whole new approach. And I don't think with Trump at the helm, they'll be free to do that very easily. Because he'll be at their heels every step of the way, and he can clean out a lot of the swamp that they need to pull off a coup. He can clean a lot of that out during his 4-year second term.
Okay, and
Don't have any doubt about it. They will continue to try.
now you said
I'm counting on the reverse of the Democrat strategy. They believe full-throated, wholeheartedly, that if they can make enough of their side that hates Trump come out and vote to get rid of Trump so that he loses, that they will get rid of, in that same election, Republicans in the Senate, at least enough to give them control of the Senate. no way our side's going to come out and vote to put Trump in. And in a district where they have a Democrat in Congress, I don't believe they will vote to keep them in. I think they will vote Republican through the Congress. I truly believe that.
There's
They
one.
believe it so much that, as was pointed out in our last program, they believe it so much that you'll notice their congressional races, they're not even running them like they normally do. You don't hear a lot of talk about their congressional races and raising money and campaigns, this, that, and the other. They're riding on Trump, both for and against him. That's what they're doing. That's why Soros isn't helping in congressional races. He's gone on down helping with prosecutors and sheriffs so that when they do get control of all three branches of government, they have local people to be the enforcers and put us in submission at the street level. But that's how far along they are in this plan. They're down to putting people in our streets, over us, in our counties, to force us to shut up and to keep us down in submission.
Well, talk.
This is really give out an awful lot of prosecutors and county sheriff's races, trust me.
Yeah. Okay. This is the very last question. A lot of people have been talking in the chat about January 20th. There is a big demonstration in Richmond, Virginia, for the Second Amendment, and there are big groups coming from many other states. And there are several people who are encouraging people to come, who have YouTube channels, who are asking people to come and join the Virginians in standing up for our Second Amendment. Is this a safe or a good idea to be having that kind of a demonstration?
If they plan to conduct it peacefully, yes.
Okay.
If they plan to go there armed, bearing arms, making sure that they look threatening, no. No, but definitely, if it's peaceful, and it can show a great outpouring of people that support the Second Amendment peacefully, honestly, by all means.
Okay, Pam reminded me of what I meant to ask you yesterday, but you got too sick. So this is our very last thing. You mentioned with Jason yesterday that we should be calling Mitch McConnell, and calls, I'm going to remind everybody, phone calls are the best way to make a difference. It's with a phone call, because a letter or an email, email can be deleted and a letter can be thrown in the circular file next to on the floor. And a call, they have to tabulate. They actually have to make note of the fact that they got a call and what we were concerned about. So phone calls are important to Mitch McConnell. Do you want to give me a script to put on the website for that?
We can, if that would help people.
It would help people. I mean, this wasn't a good day to call because it's New Year's Day and everything's closed down. So if you have the energy to do anything tonight and we can get it up, then we can start tomorrow.
I will try. I'm going down pretty quick. And
Yeah.
by the way, I need your help, folks. I'm going down fast.
Yeah, I can hear that.
This takes a lot out of me.
One last question: with the peaceful demonstration, would a open carry or concealed carry be considered peaceful?
Look, as for me, I would not want you going to that thing carrying. I wouldn't. Even if you've got a permit, even if it's legal for you to do so, I would not go to an event like that way. That would just lead to trouble. And we don't want trouble to come and it be allowed to to be blamed on us. But you do what you feel you want to, what you feel you need to do. That is 100% your call, folks.
Okay. Oh, shoot. I forgot to put up again the banner on the program about Larry's PayPal. Larry's going to need help tonight. Thank you to everybody who donated yesterday. It really did make a difference, as we heard in his voice at the beginning of the program. Do what you can for Larry today, please. His PayPal account is the fastest way to get him money, and it's nicholslive@aol.com. His link, a direct link to the PayPal account, is at the website nicholslive.com, as well as his mailing address, 58 Kensington Drive, Conway, Arkansas, 72034, and my phone number, 240-499-6729. All of that is in the description box below here. Do what you can. He needs it really badly tonight. I'll make some phone calls, but you know, this is a holiday. I don't know what we can do, but if there's somebody who can do it, please do, and do it as soon as possible.
Yes. All right, guys. Well, Happy New Year. Have a great year. Let's make this a great year for this nation.
Yep.
We can do it.
We
For
can.
that, I've got to go.
All right, Larry. Thank you.
Good day, guys.
And call me if you've got the energy to dictate something. But you need to take a rest first. I know it can't be right now. All right. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. All right, folks. That's it for Larry, and that's going to be it for me. And I'm getting cold, obviously, as you can see with my grabbing this blanket I made for Larry and didn't get to him because I thought I was going to be swinging through there before Christmas and didn't. So it didn't get in the mail. So, folks, thanks for being here. And I hope I got to all of your questions. I tried. Larry, remember, doesn't deal with the unusual things that sometimes people want to talk about, and he doesn't deal with state and local politics. So his comments on Virginia are outside of what he normally covers. But thank you for asking those questions, because you know we all wonder as we hear more and more about what's going to happen in Virginia. You know that they are itching. The Democrats are itching for a chance to make it look like we're picking a fight. So it is really, really important that anybody going to Richmond, Virginia for January 20th, make sure that you are looking like a peaceful group, because if there's any aggressiveness, they will take advantage of the situation and maximize it and create a problem where there wasn't one intended. So be careful. Thanks for being here. God bless you. Happy New Year. And we'll be back tomorrow. And enjoy the rest of your day. And I hope you get a little bit of rest too, so that you're ready for what tomorrow brings. And God bless. Bye.